Listen up, people. That's right. It's time to listen to the sparks of bliss in your life. I'm your host and life coach, Caroline de Posada from Miami, Florida. And this podcast is an invitation to join me in upgrading our mindset, wellness, and relationships so that together we create a life that unlocks our bliss. Join me each week as we explore practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the moments of clarity, or as we like to call them, los momenticos, that make the world a little more magical. Consider this your weekly dose of wisdom in your pocket. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey, listeners, happy Wednesday. I'm super excited to be able to give you this bonus episode today. This is actually a masterclass that I hosted called Fasting with Food, which really explains the science, strategies, and secrets to master mimic fasting and optimize your wellness. Now, I did this masterclass with my friend, Dr. Sanchez. He and I co-founded a program called RejuvaFAST. I, as you know, I hope you know, am a life coach, and I am all about mindset, wellness, and relationships. And Dr. Sanchez is a board certified physician and an integrative medicine expert. And together we designed this comprehensive program to help you really achieve a mind, body, and wellness experience through personal development combined with science and fasting. And it's really, really incredible. So I wanted to share with you this masterclass so you could learn everything you need to know about fasting, why it matters, why we do it cumulatively, and really inspire you to join us in the next 2 weeks. Our next RejuvaFAST experience is coming up on October 20th, from October 20th to the 24th, and it is our last one of 2024. So we highly encourage you to join us. We want to make it the biggest and best one yet. One of the things that makes the fasting experience as powerful as it is the beautiful community that we bring together to do it together, because this is something that you can do on your own, but when you do it in community, when you do it surrounded by people, supported by people, you get to just take your energy to another level. It is so amazing. So I want you to experience that. So I really hope that you'll join us again from October 20th to the 25th by going to RejuvaFAST.com and signing up for the challenge. But in the meantime, listen in and get ready to learn a ton. You ready? Here it goes. I want to start this call with an intention, because if you've ever done RejuvaFAST with me and Dr. Sanchez, if you've ever done coaching one-on-one with me, you know that I am huge proponent of living a life with intention and setting intentions before we get started on anything. That gives us a way to focus, to put our energies in the right place, and to really show up in a very specific way. So today I was going over the intentions with Dr. Sanchez, and I had intentions like teach, everything about fasting and give you the perfect protocols and, make sure that you understand exactly how our program works. And then I called Dr. Sanchez and I was like, I have these 2 intentions, but I need a third. And I said, what would your intention be for today's webinar? And he said, well, to know that no matter where they're at in their emotional or physical journey, that they can always upgrade their health and elevate their life. And it stopped me in my tracks, because that's who Dr. Sanchez is, right? Like, it's not about the technicalities. It's not about the protocols. It's about hope. It's about providing hope for people that no matter where you're at, whether you're struggling with illness, with weight, whether you're not struggling at all, you are always upgrading. Dr. Sanchez, do you want to say something about this intention?
We're in this world. This world is very interesting. It's up and down, beautiful, bliss, and also very sad. And no matter who you are, we're humans, so we go up and down. A lot of times you're up, but life is life, and you will be down. And the most important thing, there's always a way out. There's always a way to elevate. And the RejuvaFAST and the RejuvaLife way is one of the best strategies, I believe, to like elevate human beings. And absolutely, no matter where you're at, people are very sick. People have diseases that are just crazy. Everything you can imagine, neurodegenerative, like dementia, cancers. Some people are just happy, but they don't know much happier they can be. So sometimes you can actually be stuck and not feel that you're stuck. So that's why the community is always so beautiful. So yes, definitely, no matter where you're at, you can always upgrade and elevate your life.
All right. So let me introduce us. For those of you that know us or don't know us, I want you to know where we are, who we are, and how we got here. So my name is Caro de Posada, and I am a life coach. I'm actually a lawyer turned life coach. I was a practicing attorney for many, many years until my father passed away, and I pivoted my life and my career, and I decided to continue his legacy and do this work. And the reason that matters is because it was through my father that I actually met Dr. Sanchez. I remember, I'll never forget the day he called me and said, Caroline, I met this amazing doctor. You have to connect with him. He's young and he has all these ideas and he's amazing. And that's how I was introduced. They met at a radio station, Radio Caracol, if I'm not mistaken. And he was so impressed with Dr. Sanchez. What we didn't know at the time was my father had been battling with cancer, and we didn't know at the time that Dr. Sanchez was going to have such a pivotal role in helping us navigate through my dad's cancer and helping us use integrative medicine to really try to upgrade his experience, to try to save him. And oftentimes Dr. Sanchez and I talk about how timing is so important, and how with advances in medicine and in life and in knowledge, there's so much more that we can do. Had we known then, when he was battling, what we know now about fasting, maybe things would have looked differently today. But regardless, I believe that everything happens as it's supposed to be, and the timing is perfect right now. And I think my dad would be so happy to know that we have met once again, and that we are doing this incredible work. Because although we were just friends, and then he was my doctor, and then he was my dad's doctor, at some point I called him, and in conversation, I asked him what he was doing, and he's always doing all this exciting stuff. And he said, I developed a protocol for a mimic fast. I'm fasting with food, and it's so exciting, and it's so easy, and it's so doable. And I said, we got to share this with the world. So we started RejuvaFAST in our program. Dr. Sanchez, would you please give a little background about yourself and who you are in this world?
It just brings me back to his dad. It was a vortex of energy. The guy would walk into any room, and that's it. Something is going on, something like crazy, entertaining, positive. I'm a board certified family physician. I have a fellowship in integrated medicine and a diplomatic in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. But here, I'm just basically giving advice. I'm not acting as a medical doctor. I've been in practice pretty much over 30 years. And, when you see, and my background is biochemistry, neurochemistry. So when you see people having issues, pathology, diseases, and then everything is kind of broken, it's crazy fragmented system. So if you have hypertension, you go to the cardiologist and you give a prescription medicine. If you have dementia, you get an Alzheimer's drug, which really doesn't work. If you have a rheumatoid arthritis, you get an immunological. Humans are one system. We're very whole. And when you start fragmenting everything, it really is not in the benefit of fixing people. And one of the things I've seen, obviously from diet, exercise, the typical things that we know are very healthy. One of the things that was so impressive is when you stop eating stuff, when you stop bombarding your body with toxins, with foods, contaminated foods, foods that are processed, you basically reverse a lot of these diseases that are super common. And then with the science being available and everyone working on different projects, and me being kind of a researcher as well, I saw the powers of fasting. And y'all see now the intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting. But as the science developed, I saw that actually you can actually create a fasting mode in your body, which is amazingly how it just reverses diseases, and you really become a more heightened, a more healthier person. But you can still have food. It's just
Wait, Dr. Sanchez, you're getting ahead of yourself because we got to go with our slides here.
okay. Yes, and then and then that's how RejuvaFAST started, and it's just wow, pretty
All
impressive. And we do have an avalanche of knowledge. There's just so much stuff coming to us, so much amazing things. For example, just a little quick on her dad that had cancer. He actually did get a combination of integrative therapies, and he did have some traditional therapies like chemotherapy. Read recent how the combination of actually fasting before chemo, and now you do that strategy, you can actually kill more cancer cells and give less chemo. Wow. It's just really how you stack these things, and the knowledge base is just every day you learn more and more stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And I have a friend of mine whose husband was diagnosed with cancer, and he used that exact strategy, and his results have been mind-blowing. Doctors are blown away with his results. Okay, so today's roadmap. So I want you guys to know where you're going so that, you kind of get a feel for what today's going to look like. We're going to talk about the science and benefits of fasting and how fasting with food works, the importance of a 5-day fast, like why do we do 5 days, what happens in those 5 days, and how to create a wellness lifestyle beyond the fast. So the way that I want today to go is, please feel free to ask questions. We're going to have a Q&A at the end, but also put your questions in the chat. And if I find the opportunity to answer those questions during our time together, I will definitely do that. If not, we'll answer them at the end as efficiently as possible, but we want to answer all of your questions. So before we even, or I think the most exciting part of the science of fasting comes from the power of epigenetics. And this is something that Dr. Sanchez talked to me about. So Dr. Sanchez, I want you to share with everyone what epigenetics is and how it relates to fasting, how it got us here.
Right. We all have DNA. And if you look at the cells, for example, if you get a cell from the brain, a cell from the liver, a cell from the heart, it's basically the same DNA. So why is one a liver? Why is one a heart? Why is one brain cells? Because the DNA, which is basically a lot of genes and a lot of proteins are made. It's like a little factory, and each little section has kind of a purpose. And so in the liver, it's producing certain proteins and activating certain genes. It's basically reading some chapters. So we have like a whole bunch of chapters, and in the liver, let's say, for example, it's opening chapter 1 and 3, and it's closing chapter 8. But in the brain, it's opening different chapters. Now, those are the chapters. Within the chapters, there's a surrounding guide to how the genes are expressed. So almost as if you're traveling, let's say from Miami to Orlando, and that is your DNA, it's a straight line, but you can make a right turn. You can get gas, you can stop, you can listen to music. That's kind of the software. So you got the hard drive, and then you got the software that plays the programs. So that's your epigenome, which is crazy how when you tap into epigenome, and let's say, for example, your mom was diabetic, your dad was diabetic, so you have kind of a predisposition in your DNA, but you can completely stop it fiddling around and changing your epigenetics. Now, this is the classic amazing example. On the left, you got the obese rat. It's called an agouti mouse. And these mice are basically bred to be obese, hypertension, diabetics. Now, if this mouse gets pregnant, and if you give certain molecules during the pregnancy, a window period, and you give certain molecules that are not chemicals, I mean, from pharmaceuticals, these are natural molecules like B12, folate. They basically open and close the epigenome. You open up, close your chapters of the DNA. You can give it during these molecules during a window period of the pregnancy. Guess what happens? The mom produces a completely normal offspring.
That's crazy.
Just by giving these molecules, we're like B12, folate, methylating compounds, just crazy. Polyphenols from berries. Now, the interesting thing is that the little new mouse that is normal has another baby, and it's normal. You didn't have to put any molecules. The effect is robust, and it goes through like 4 or 5 cycles of generations, and it still has the effect. And then you start losing it.
So, Dr. Sanchez, does that mean that what we're doing in our genetics right now, like if for example, if I am changing my genetics, or I am removing the tags of cancer that came
Right.
from my dad in my genetics, that's going to impact my sons and my sons' kids?
That's what it is, and that's the new science. It's just crazy. It's just so important that we understand that some people say, "Oh, my grandma ate whatever, and she's 100 years old," but it's not like that. There's always a detail, and it's just amazing how this study proves that if you do interventions in a precise manner, you can create tremendous health benefits. You really are in control. And it's just mind blowing how you have to understand that one of the most important things that change your chapters and open up chapters of being healthier and younger is fasting. I know there's a lot of controversy with diet, and people say, okay, you do vegan diet or vegetarian diet, but overall, one thing that is known, all the diets, it's best to eat less. The more you eat, the more you intoxicate, and the more you clunk up and you mess up your DNA. So this is an amazing study. Look at that. A little intervention creates a brand new healthy mouse.
That's amazing. So obviously, the number one question that people always ask is like, how am I going to go for 5 days without food? Am I going to starve? So can you,
Well,
are we going to starve, Dr. Sanchez?
I don't know how many people have hybrid cars, that basically run on gasoline and electricity. Well, guess what happens when you run out of electricity? It shifts into using the gasoline. So, where's the fuel source of the body? The body fuel source basically uses up glucose, sugar, or fats. So when you have someone that stops eating, for example, the body doesn't receive nutrients, but it's not dumb. It survives. So it taps into your fat reserves. So this Angus Bearberry was on a water fast with a little vitamins and stuff for over a year, 382 days. Guess where his energy came from? Guess where his nutrients came from? From his fat. And crazy, but humans here in the US, we have about 2 to 3 months of fat reserves. We are not going to die. Now, this guy did a water fast and lost weight, but guess what? RejuvaFAST is not a water fast. Although I do the water fast, and some people in the RejuvaFAST do the water fast, but it's not a water fast. This is a fasting mimicking diet, which is just way more comfortable and I think very and much safer. So
Dr. Sanchez, there has been a huge movement now with certain GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, Mounjaro. People are getting injected so that they can lose weight. I think the medicine was for diabetics, but now it's gone into the into the mainstream, and people are using it with really, really, really good results. And it seems easier to inject yourself maybe once a week than it is to go without food for 5 days. So why would we waste our time, like 5 whole entire days fasting,
that's right.
when we have this alternative?
Well, that's what human beings want quick, smarter, not harder kind of approaches. So if you want to lose weight and you got these injectables and people are losing weight, you go, wow. But guess what? In this world, what I've found, there's no quick fix. There's no free lunch in one sense. There's always complications and side effects. First of all, it's expensive. The second thing, it's a very precise medication, which basically it boosts up a protein called GLP. So it's a GLP agonist. And when you keep on doing this, guess what happens? You lose fat, but you also lose tremendous amounts of lean muscle, which is the disaster. So if you stop these medicines, you gain the weight back, and now you're even in a worse shape because your muscles are weaker. But I'm not saying that there's no easy way. Like fasting with water is hard.
Wait, hold on, Dr. Sanchez. So do you lose muscle when you fast for 5 days because you're going with no food at all?
Not in the RejuvaFAST, not in 5 days. Absolutely not. You basically lose toxins, you lose fat, but you don't touch your muscles, as opposed to these medicines. And then you go, well, how can I do a GLP agonist like Manjaro or Ozempic? My God, when you go into nature, there are there are natural molecules that do the same thing, maybe not as intense. So I've actually created like natural components that you can put in like apple cider vinegar. It works like a GLP agonist, like Ozempic, and you put in substances like rosemary, berberine, quercetin, cinnamon, and you can create these concoctions. There are like substitutes, and they're very cheap, and they don't do the muscle wasting effect as these drugs. So yeah, when something looks very easy, like people gotten bariatric surgery, and all of a sudden they lose a lot of weight, in a couple of years they're disaster. They're nutritionally deficient, they're depressed, they start gaining the weight back in weird areas. So there's really no quick fix, but there's a smarter way. There's always smart ways to do it. Kind of that's what the RejuvaFAST RejuvaLife weight is.
Yeah. And of course, that's not for everyone, right? Like there are people that have had very successful results with that kind of surgery or with Ozempic or
Yes,
Manjaro. It's just
absolutely.
it's
There's a time and place for everything.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's not fun.
There's a risk.
These things are pretty interesting as well, and they
You
help.
know, Dr. Sanchez, Raul just commented that he once fasted for 35 days as an experiment.
And he's still alive.
Aha, you're still alive. Amazing. Amazing.
Okay, that's great.
That is
The
great.
longest I've done is 7 days, and it's great. It's great, and it becomes easier.
So Dr. Sanchez loves to do our spoiler alert sometimes. He likes to give away the information before my slide comes up. So Dr. Sanchez, is there an easier way to fasting that you're not fasting on a water fast?
There's always an easier way. Look at the app Waze. You basically want to get from point A to point B. You put on Waze, and Waze tells you where the traffic is. So there's always an easy way. So the mimic fast, you trick the body. The body has these nutrient sensing antennas, but you can trick it. So it really senses sugar, and it really senses specific protein, especially like from animal. I'm not against animal protein, but when you do the fasting and you're eating a lot of animal protein, it ruins the fast. So you can give it these foods, which are basically predominant in vegetables. They're low with carbohydrates and they're low in calorie, and you trick the body. So now you get the benefits of the fast, but you're still eating. So it's not such a big sacrifice, and it reduces a lot of the side effects. So these are very doable fasts, and it's basically doing things smarter and not harder.
Dr. Sanchez, about how many calories a day would you say that we encourage our rejuvenators to eat?
The maximum is about 500. And
Okay.
when you go into the program, we divide it, and then each meal wouldn't have more than 180 calories. Because once even these fast mode foods, if you eat too much of them, they'll flip you out of the fasting. So there's a certain restriction of calories, and obviously there's a section category of foods that would be the fasting mimicking foods.
Yeah. Well, one of the words that you often use, which always soothes my soul whenever we talk about fasting, is that you say, this is a mild fast. It's a gentle fast. It's not so abrupt or aggressive as a water fast, and yet gives you so many amazing results.
Absolutely gives you a lot of the robust benefits of the fast. But that's what it is. It's sometimes you can struggle with something, but this gives you an easy approach to actually get the benefits. It's
Right.
just basically it's based on science, and it's an upgrade for these water fasts.
Now, I have here a list of potential benefits of mimic fasting, right? Like these are, you throw this into Chat GPT and you say, like, what are the potential benefits of mimic fasting? And they're going to come up with all these kinds of things. But I think even more importantly than that is understanding, how do you know if you're a candidate to fast, right? Like our intention at the beginning of this call was to show that you can always upgrade your life, but we have different people in different circumstances. So we have people that are older and, maybe are trying to reverse the clock. We have people who are overweight and are trying to lose weight. And we also have people that are healthy and thin, and they like to work out a lot, and maybe are thinking they're not a good candidate for doing a fast. Like, why am I going to go through all the trouble? Why am I going to torture myself? Why am I going to do this hard thing when I look great and I feel great and I'm fine? So I'd love for you to touch upon, like, why do you think fasting is something that's so important that should be incorporated into our lifestyle more than just like doing it once?
Well, if you have any of the chronic diseases and all these diseases here, like autoimmune and cancer and prevention, definitely there's a tremendous advantage, and it gives you like the quickest way to reverse these things. Always talk to your doctor or healthcare practitioner. You know, people that are young, that are growing. They don't want to fast. You need growth and excess energy. When you're older and frail, you don't want to particularly do prolonged fasting. There's adjusted fastings, obviously, but when you're young and healthy, you're accumulating toxins, you're accumulating parasites, you're accumulating heavy metals, you're accumulating these things. So eventually, when you reach a certain point of accumulation, wherever your weakest part of the body is, you might be very weak in your heart, and you're running and you look healthy, but you're accumulating toxins. So now you're getting atherosclerosis, plaque, and then you break down and something happens. But you were healthy, but everyone is accumulating toxins. We're contaminating our environment. We're breathing in mercury. We're eating stuff with foods that have cadmium, lead. We're eating things that are basically accumulating in our body. So I think everyone, depending on the degree, can benefit from a fast. And it's been proven. People get healthier. Even healthy people get healthier.
Mm, I love it. Does anybody have any questions up till now? Please, if you do, put them on the chat, because I'd love to go through them with you. So now I'd like to introduce our RejuvaFAST program, right? So we've talked about what fasting is, what mimic fasting is, understanding it. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. Like, is this resonating with anybody? Are you guys excited about the idea of fasting with food? I'd love to hear from you. So put it on the chat for me. So we created a program called RejuvaFAST. And what's absolutely amazing about it is that Dr. Sanchez was, being a chemist and a scientist and a doctor and the brainiac that he is, he's always looking for formulas and figuring out a way to make things easy and doable and not that hard, right? So he created a grocery list and a supplement list and all this kind of stuff. And then I come in the picture and it's like, well, what's another part of fasting? What's another part of the experience? And for me, it's all about the personal development. It's about the personal growth. It's about using this to leverage your wellness from within. It's not just about what you eat or what you put in your body, but also about what you're thinking, about how you're approaching things, about how you're tapping into your resilience, about how you're strengthening your core. Okay, so when we talk about RejuvaFAST, this is our basically like the formula. Okay, so over here on the left, you'll see that we provide a grocery list. On the right, we provide supplements. Now we have tons and tons and tons of supplements. Dr. Sanchez, could you explain a little bit about what research you've done and why you put so many supplements in this program?
Well, one of the main things is that the body and most people don't have adequate nutritional vitamins and minerals to even withstand a detox process. So when you actually go through a fast, you're dumping out toxins and heavy metals and contaminated stuff in the body. You don't want those to recycle. So a lot of these things is binders, like green binders, that you take them out of the body so they don't recycle. Also, when you detox, you need minerals, you need vitamins. So those things will mitigate a lot of the side effects of fasting and actually make the fasting more robust. Now, if you didn't have this, if you would do a pure water fast, even Angus Bearberry, the guy that lost like so many pounds, 382 days, he had vitamins, he had some nutrients, because the body needs these things to detox. You just don't detox without enzyme systems of the liver. We need help. And I think then we strategize to give you the best supplements, to give you the best fast.
It's funny because I had my father-in-law's wife was going to do RejuvaFAST with us. And I was going to gift it to her for Christmas or something like that, because I wanted her to do this program. So I got her a subscription to it, and I made sure she registered and she signed up, and I gave her all the lists, and I said, okay, go on the website and do all the stuff. You're going to do it with us. And I put her on the WhatsApp chat. And then I called her like 3 days or 2 days into the fast. I'm like, how are you doing? How's it going? And she was like, oh, like she wasn't feeling well. She was like, oh, she didn't sound like a rejuvenator. Like there was something off. And I'm like, what is happening? Why are you, what's going on? And then I realized that she said, no, I just haven't eaten anything since 2 days ago. Like I stopped eating. But she wasn't taking the vitamins. She wasn't going by the grocery list. She wasn't taking any of the supplements. And she was just, and then she was ready to give up. She was like, I'm not going to continue doing this anymore. It's like too hard. And I have to cook for my husband, and I'm not going to continue doing this. And I said, no. You got to follow the protocol. So she started to take the vitamins. She started to take do the groceries. She started to actually follow the program. And then she calls me. She says, this is so amazing. This is so easy. This is so doable. And I'm like, this is why the program exists. Otherwise, you could have just done it on your own. But that's what we do. Like sometimes we think like, oh, I could just do it. Even when I first started RejuvaFAST, the first time that I ever did it, Dr. Sanchez, I'm going to confess that the first time that I ever did it, I didn't order the supplements. I was like, let me see how long I can go without without taking the supplements. And it makes a huge difference. I got headaches. I didn't feel as great. And then I learned. So we have the supplements. We have the grocery list. We have the personal development coach. I am here with you the entire 5 days to like send you affirmations and, make sure you're on track and follow up with you. We have Dr. Sanchez, who's your health coach, and he's making sure that that you're being supported throughout the entire thing. But then the 5 days starts on a Sunday at 2 p.m. and it ends on a Sunday at 2 p.m. So it's going to be the most confusing 5 days ever, because 24-hour increments always happen at 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m., you're like, am I in day 3 or am I in day 4? Right? Dr. Sanchez, why did you develop it at 2 p.m. from a Sunday to a Friday?
Humans want to have fun, and we're very social. Can you imagine continuing your fast Friday night, which most people celebrate, and then you have everyone else eating whatever, and you're like still with your fast? So I say, what is the best time to get these 5 days in? Well, Sunday, everything is winding down. You might have like a Sunday breakfast and you do a lot of things socially, but after Sunday afternoon, after 2 p.m., everything winds down. And everything pretty much kicks again after 2 p.m. Friday. Everyone's waiting for the weekend and celebrating. So this is almost the best time, I think, to put in 5 days. That's why it was developed, to make it fun. We're very social. We want entertainment.
To make it fun and to make it easy, I guess.
Easier.
Which you're a genius at. So, Dr. Sanchez, there's a question on the chat, and it's a great question. Why do we get headaches and dizziness? Like, why do we experience that when we fast?
There's a whole bunch of common side effects, and then what happens with the fast? You're detoxing. You're a lot of stuff is coming out. A lot of water's coming out, and when you take out water, you also take out minerals. Minerals like magnesium, potassium, sodium. So these things are absolutely necessary to keep your vascular system, everything kind of in balance. So you're creating things that are out of balance. So if you don't replace, for example, if you're losing a lot of water and you don't replace water soluble minerals, then you become depleted. And minerals run everything, pretty much, vitamins and minerals. So that's why people get side effects. There are a lot of reasons people get different side effects, but I think we've developed a supplement list and like question answer list just to kind of mitigate all these side effects. And pretty much it's been fairly successful.
Now, Dr. Sanchez, one of the things I think is super popular nowadays is the time restricted eating, right? Like the intermittent fasting. So a lot of people will do like 12 hours or 16 hours. I hear it all the time. Like whenever I talk to somebody new and I talk about RejuvaFAST, they oftentimes they'll say, oh, well, I fast every day. I fast every day from, for 12 hours or 16 hours. But you are gung ho about doing 5 days every so often, right? Like every quarter, a few times a year, not even just once a year, but every quarter. Why is the 5 days such a big deal for you?
I didn't invent the 5 days. When you looked at the science and the benefits of fasting, because you get a lot of stuff that what happens in fasting. Fasting is a magic for the body. You detox, you clean out the body, you create healthier cells, stem cells, and it takes about 5 days to reach like the maximum benefit. After 6 or 7 days, you're not really getting so much of the effect. So if you go 12 hours or 16 hours without eating, it's beneficial for a lot of people, but it's not like, for example, if you do a weight, for example, if you're doing some weights and it's like a 1 pound, like this 1 pound, that's fine, but does it build muscle? Does it create a change? No. But if you put 5 pounds or 10 pounds, less time maybe, but more weight, it stimulates, like the muscle has to say, well, now I need to change. So it's basically the intensity. So sometimes you basically know that there's like a dimmer, and you can just do a little dim or high dim. 5 days gives you a robust fasting benefit.
Okay, so let's go through each day because one of the things I find most exciting is to like know what's happening to my body each day. And I think it's this is also a really great thing to understand because it proves the point that there is no failed fast. And what do I mean by that? So maybe you're doing 12 to 16 hours already and you are getting some benefits. And maybe you're not getting the full 5 day benefits, but you are getting some benefits from doing that. Well, what if you start the fast and you can only do 2 days or you can only do 3 days? Um, our mentality tends to be like, oh, I failed. I couldn't do the full 5 days for whatever the reasons yours may be. And that rarely happens in our case because the fast is so easy that most people complete the 5 days and also because of the community. But let's say that it happens. The tendency is to be like, I failed. But I think it's kind of exciting to know, well, I got this from day one. I got this from day two. I got this from day three.
Right.
And if you want to get like the maximum benefits, you're going to keep going. But you will never lose the benefits that you got from that time, if that makes any sense. So day one, Dr. Sanchez, share with us like day one, the first 24 hours.
Yeah, basically we have fuel in our body, and then if we eat and we stop eating, but we've eaten, like for example, the lunch, that those sugars and those fats and those proteins are going to be used as fuel. Now, when we stop eating, we're going to run out of those fuels. Usually, about 14 to 16 hours. The sugar is basically, a lot of it is stuck in the liver and in the muscles. We use those reserves. About 16 hours or so, we're going to start shifting. So there's no sugar. That's an easy molecule to burn. But the body says, okay, but I need to survive. So it starts switching to fat burning. Now, this switching from sugar burning to fat burning is kind of the metabolic flexibility. Guess what? 93% of the population is not metabolically flexible. We can't switch the fuel. So sometimes the fat burning is delayed. Instead of 16 hours, maybe goes to the next day.
All right. So then you go into day two.
Right, and it's burning the fat, and then the body says, okay, but I'm now thinking maybe there's going to be a famine. There's not going to be another food, so it triggers genes of longevity, and one of them starts the process of autophagy, cleaning. So we have a lot of stuff in our cells that is not functional. It's like looks like garbage, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes these are proteins that are messed up, that are not functional, but the autophagy cleans it and breaks it and makes whatever junk is not necessary, takes it out, but there's some stuff that's usable, so it recycles. So this is like a cleaning of the cells in a very smart way. And that would happen in day two. And day three, basically the fat that's being released, the liver turns it into ketones. Ketones is like another fuel. It fuels the brain. It gets rid of appetite. And about this day three, in people that are metabolically flexible, usually peaks. Some people, it doesn't peak that much because we're so out of shape. And then the autophagy and the cleaning gets a little bit more precise. At the beginning, it's like just cleaning the house, like everywhere. And then now it's like cleaning the countertop and behind the chair. So it gets more precise, the cleaning at that day 3, the autophagy.
You know, Dr. Sanchez, one of the coolest things about our program that we do it with communities that we get to see people put these things to test. So things that can be measured are always so fun. During RejuvaFAST, we've had people who've used glucose monitors to test their sugar response or glucose response, insulin response, whatever response that is, throughout the 5 days. I've done it. Francis, my right hand woman, has done it. Dr. Sanchez has done it. We've had a bunch of people who've done the glucose monitor. And the other thing we've been turned on to is these ketosis sticks, right? So there are these little sticks that you get, you buy them at the local pharmacy, and you go to the bathroom and you pee on the stick, and the stick will tell you if you are producing ketones or not. And it has this scale, and it goes from very, very light, which is like you don't have any ketones in your system, to very, very, very dark, which is like you're in full-blown ketosis. And it's been interesting to see how some people will be testing from the very, very beginning, and it'll take them 3 days, 4 days, sometimes even the full 5 days before they're in that state. And yet they'll do the fast again the second time, the second quarter or the third quarter, and all of a sudden that stick gets darker on day 2. And for me, that stick goes to dark on day 1, which is such an exciting thing. I'm like, oh my God.
Exciting. It's exciting when you transform. That is right.
It's so amazing to see it. So one of the cool things about it is to see the progress, never to get discouraged. It's just knowing that you're progressing, you're getting more flexible, you're getting more fit internally and externally with this process. So then we go into day 4.
And then the body is creating these resilient hormones. One of them, insulin, goes really down, and growth hormone goes up like hundreds of percent. I mean, like really, people buy and spend so much money, thousands of dollars on growth hormone. We produce growth hormone in tremendous amounts just by fasting. And at day 4, you got tremendous growth hormone and stem cells. So
Dr. Sanchez, I have a question about the growth hormone.
Yeah.
I've always heard that, like, if a man wants to take growth hormone in his 40s or 50s because he wants to be more muscular, and or he wants to like make himself feel younger by using this growth hormone, one of the things that they have to be careful with is they have to check for cancer before they issue this growth hormone, because growth hormone can cause cancerous cells to.
Well, it grows. Whatever's in your body that's abnormal, it'll grow more. But
so does that happen with the fasting? Like if you have
because the body is just amazing how it knows what to do. And the growth hormone, when you give it to someone that's eating a lot of stuff, now we're not eating, we're not producing any major growth. It's just there. It's just there at really high levels, but it's not going to induce a tumor, because now tumors love sugar. Sugar levels are very low. Tumors love insulin. Insulin is very low. So it's almost like a perfect balance. And it's just quite amazing how it's set like that, because eventually we go through feast and famine. So now like it's a famine state, and eventually we feed and refeed, and it's feast, and you got the growth hormones to rebuild. And it's basically, that's what it is. It doesn't really stimulate any type of abnormal tumor growth.
And what does stem cell activation even mean?
We got our body repair kits. So let's say if you have old skin and then you cut the skin because it's an accident, and you go, okay, how do we build new skin? Well, the old skin is not going to do it. You need stem cells that are basically ready to become new skin cells. And that's what stem cells are. We have stem cells in the brain. We have stem cells in the liver. We have stem cells in the skin. The big stem cells that are turned around all the time in the gut. So now there's a complete reset, and the stem cells are just ready. Where do I go? Where do I need to repair? They're like ready and primed.
Interesting. So then we go into day 5.
It's the same thing. Now you got more robust stem cells. You got more growth hormones. Insulin is so it's ready to do something. After this, if you go 6 or 7 days, Then the body gets very stressed. Your cortisol levels go up. You sometimes tap into muscle. So day 5 is pretty much you reach what I think science has concluded 5 days is pretty adequate to get the robust benefits, and then the body's ready to regenerate. So the cells during this fast as well, you get rid of old cells. There are cells in the organs called senescent cells. They're like zombie cells. They don't really do too much, but they intoxicate the area. It's like if you buy strawberries in a little bag, and one of them goes bad, and if you don't take it out really fast, the rest goes bad really fast. So these zombie cells, senescent cells, it's like the strawberry with mold. If you don't take it out fast, it'll contaminate. The fasting also gets rid of these old senescent cells. So now afterwards, the day 6 or 7, you pretty much have kind of new immune system, not 100%, new cells in the intestines. So it's really crazy how the body kind of rejuvenates. And as you do it more frequently, like maybe we do it 4 times a year, you becomes better and stronger and cleaner. And I think you just become healthier. And it's easier to do for sure.
Dr. Sanchez, I just had this visual in my head of like, when you're climbing a mountain and you're trying to get to like the top of the mountain so that you have the best view, right? So I could just see like day 5 is you're at this top of the mountain and you have this amazing view, but once you've climbed a mountain, you still have to come down, right? Which is hard work too. Like you still have to like get back all the way to the ground floor. And I think that's where living with a Rejuva life is. Once you get to the peak, you get to climb, but Rejuva life is all about making sure that you're climbing down in a healthy, safe way.
That's right. Because you could quickly go back to really bad lifestyle and ruin everything.
So one of the things that's been coming up a lot is the idea of women and fast, like women should fast differently than men. And I think this is really important because in our community, we have a lot of women. And I know that we had one woman who joined us for the fast. And this is a fascinating thing. She was doing intermittent fasting and like almost every day. Like she was like really strict fasting. She was going all in with the fasting and doing RejuvaFAST and all these other things. And all of a sudden she fell off the map. Like she stopped doing RejuvaFAST. She stopped doing everything. And it was because she went to a functional medicine doctor. And when she got to the doctor, she realized that her body was all out of whack. Like she wasn't doing very well from all this intermittent fasting. And that's where she started learning about the differences between fasting for women and fasting for men. And she stopped fasting so much. And then she rejoined RejuvaFAST. And I reached out to her and I said, well, why'd you rejoin RejuvaFAST if you went to the doctor and this wasn't effective? And she said, well, because what was affecting me wasn't the 5-day RejuvaFAST. What was affecting me was this everyday fasting that I was doing of these prolonged periods. So once I got a hold of that and I started feeling better, now I can use the RejuvaFAST to leverage so that like it supports me as opposed to I'm just feeling bad all the time. And I thought this is something that we need to explain because I don't understand it. And I know a lot of women don't understand it. So I would love to know your opinion on it.
Well, it's pretty obvious. Men, it's much easier to fast. And the main reason is because we're different. Women go through cycles, hormones, especially if they're menstruating. So, for example, if you have your period, like that's when you bleed, that's the first day. Your hormones are very low, like progesterone and estrogen. You don't need to build these hormones. You can fast without issue. But when you're reaching kind of that pre-ovulation and ovulation, you need to build hormones, and hormones are built with molecules, and one of the big molecules is sugar. So if you reduce sugar tremendously, it's very hard. And progesterone is also an estrogen. It's related to mood. So right after your ovulation, then you reduce, and if you ovulate, the hormones go down again. So it's easier to fast at that time. But when you're going to have another period, that 5 or 6 days before the period, you're building hormones again. So it's very hard. Now, this is really related to water fasting. because the RejuvaFAST gives you enough of those macromolecules like sugar, enough of them to really not create havoc on those hormone productions. So definitely, I don't think women should do intermittent fasting every day. You could do cyclical. The beautiful book written by Mindy Peltz, Dr. Peltz, Fast Like a Girl, wow, explains it, gives you the graph. So everyone wants to get into the intermittent fasting. I just give you like a little bit of summary, but she goes into the detail. It's really nice, and it makes it so much easier because it's a big, big struggle.
So do you think if you're a woman and we have our timelines, we have our fasts are set in stone. If you're a woman and your timeline is set in stone with the Rejuva fast, should you not fast during our time period?
Well, you could, absolutely you could, but you would go on the higher end. We could fluctuate the calories, but if you're like in the window period before your next menses, and you don't want to struggle, what we always do, go to the higher amount of calories, and also the supplements. Like if you do green supplements every half an hour to an hour during certain times of the day, you pretty much mitigate those effects of not having the production of the hormone. So there are ways to do it, and definitely you don't have to time the RejuvaFAST. You just have to strategize what you're going to eat, how much you're going to eat, and what supplements, and you can definitely do it.
So I think this is what takes us into what I consider RejuvaFast superpower. And RejuvaFast superpower is dun, da, 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 the power of our community. I think it's such an important aspect of what we do, because the truth is that we can give you the grocery list and the supplement list, right? Like stick to, don't get animal protein, don't eat sugar, don't eat carbs, make sure you stick to green vegetables, not high carb vegetables. Make sure that you stick to 180 calories per meal. Make sure you get some green superfoods. You can add some magnesium. You can have some charcoal. You can have some salt and electrolytes. And then you're golden. You could do this on your own. You do not need to do it with us. So why do people keep coming back, and why do we keep doing it together? And I think that the reason that people do that is because we learn in community. So using the women as an example, if you are a woman and you're going to do RejuvaFast and you're keeping track of your cycle, and you know that next week you're going to start your period, and you want to make sure that you make this as easy and doable as possible, you are one click away from getting the answers that you need, right? Which is just calling us and saying, sending us a WhatsApp and saying, hey, what do I have to do in this process? Now, I do want to point out, we are a little bit pressed for time because we're running over. We're supposed to be like at 30 minutes, we were supposed to be done with this particular section. And here we are 50 minutes. So I hope you guys will stick with us. We don't have much left to cover, but I do want to talk to you about living a Rejuva life. And it's something that's so important to me. So stick with us to the end. And make sure that you ask us all the questions that you may have and whatever, but bear with us. We have so much information. We have so much to share with you guys. Okay. So Mary Jo has a great question, and I want to touch on it before we keep talking about community, because it's about the women. What about menopausal women, Dr. Sanchez?
There's a trace of what that cycle that sticks during menopause. So there is some little pulsing, but it's way easier. The only thing about the menopausal women, you always want to kind of make sure that there are some times that the periods, you don't have them anymore, but there's still some hormonal production, and you start producing less progesterone and less estrogen. So you really want to make sure that you kind of tell them they're still in cycles. They're still in cycles, and sometimes it's important to listen to your body and to take the appropriate supplements, because definitely it still continues. As opposed to men, it's pretty easy. It's kind of crazy how it's easy for men to fast and lose weight.
So for all the men in this call, you have no excuse. You can do RejuvaFast every quarter. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to modify. But like everything in life, women, we all need to plan a little bit more. We need to, I look at Dr. Sanchez, and Dr. Sanchez will be like, oh, it's been 4 days and I haven't had any food and I just feel fantastic. I just feel wonderful. And I'm like, oh, I'm dying, but that's the men and the women but I will say, I've done both now. I've done we've upgraded to the water fast, and I've obviously I've done the mimic fast. And this last time that I did the fast, after doing it like 5 water fasts in a row, I did the mimic fast. And it was so easy that it was ridiculous. It was like the coolest experience ever. And I said, there is something here. There are some water fasts that have been harder for me, some that have been easier. And I think it's all based on my cycle about what time of the month I'm in. So this is something we're going to start paying attention to together as a community. And one of the beautiful things about our community is that we've got international. We have people all over the United States. We have people in Mexico. We have people in Dominican Republic. We've had people in Costa Rica. We've had people in just all over the place. Puerto Rico. Where else? I don't know. We have a bunch of different locations, and we are growing. So the way that we stay connected is through WhatsApp. WhatsApp is international. It allows us to stay within community. Everybody is super positive. We're always sharing with each other. We're asking questions. We're connecting. And I know sometimes WhatsApp chats can get a little bit overwhelming if you have too many of them going on. But we encourage you to be a WhatsApp minimalist and only use it, based on your needs and your situation. In those 5 days, having a WhatsApp chat with Dr. Sanchez and myself and your community in there, it's like having, a friend holding your hand while you're going through this process. It just makes it easier. It makes it funner. It gives you all these ideas. They share recipes. They share a symptom control. They share their experiences. They set intentions together. We do our affirmations together, and it's such a beautiful experience. So I suggest that you all participate in the WhatsApp because it makes it really, really amazing. Now, before we go on to living a Rejuva life, I want to encourage you all to join our upcoming RejuvaFAST. RejuvaFAST is from October 22nd to the 27th. How do you register? I thought you'd never ask. You register by going to RejuvaFAST.com. It's very easy. There are 2 options for registration, and I want to go over them real quick for you. There is the single fast challenge, and there is the Rejuva 4 bundle. Now, what is the difference? The single fast challenge is you want to try one fast, you want to just do it and see what it's like. You can join us. It's $147. It's 5 days. It's you get all these Zoom calls, you get the community, you get Dr. Sanchez and I, you get undivided support, you get the grocery list and the supplement list and all that kind of stuff. And it's a great experience. It's a great deal. But if you want to make RejuvaFAST a Rejuva life, if you want to make it a part of your life, then we highly recommend that you do the Rejuva 4 bundle. And the reason for that is because you are committing ahead of time to fasting with us once a quarter. We have a model, which we're going to talk about in the Rejuva life, about how we live a life of Rejuva fast, incorporating fasting. The reason we incorporate fasting so much in our life is because it actually allows us to sacrifice less. By fasting more, we sacrifice less, which is an incredible thing that I didn't know about. And it's changed my life. And I think it's changed Dr. Sanchez's life. And I think it's changed all the people in our community's life. And if there's anyone in our community that right now that's in this call that has done the Rejuva 4 bundle, I would love for you to put on the chat your experience and how amazing it is, because it really is a great experience. So for $350, you are signing up for 4 fasts, and you are staying in our WhatsApp chat the entire year, which is a beautiful thing. So in between fasts, people get together and they have mini fasts. They share recipes. We share some health hacks. We share things about our lives. It's a wonderful community. You become part of our tribe, which is something that we believe very strongly in. And you put the fast in your calendar already. So the next upcoming fast, just to give you a brief synopsis, is October 22nd. Oh, this is inverted. January 21st and April 14th. So you could already put those in your calendar. You can set your life up for them, and you can start to live your life on this cycle, on a season. It is really an amazing experience. Dr. Sanchez, do you want to share anything about the Rejuva bundle, or doing RejuvaFAST with us, or anything?
Just basically that it's so nice to be in a community, like you belong to something. So it's beyond the fast sometimes. It's almost the vibration of having people that have high vibrations all together doing something. It's just very magical. We've done, actually, besides these days, sometimes we've done companies, we've done groups, and after the fast, they become so much aligned. They're friendlier, they work better, they're more productive, because they've gone through like a little struggle together. It really binds people together. So yeah, I love it. The community is key.
That's a great point, and thank you for reminding me. So if you are working a corporation, or you have a team and you want to do a team resilience challenge, please reach out to me. We can incorporate your people. We can do it at a group discount, and we can have all of your team join in with us, so that they're doing the fast not only with our community, but within their own community. It's a really exciting thing. So now we go on to living a Rejuva life. And here's the formula that I wanted to share with you. So RejuvaFAST is about creating a cyclical life, right? Just like we have the fall, we have the winter, we have the spring, we have the summer. We also have cycles in our being. And I used to think, me personally, that we had to eat clean the entire year, that you should never eat anything that's not good for you. And I still think that to a certain extent, don't get me wrong. But I have learned that food is not always just about nutrition. Sometimes it's about being social. And when you live a life that's too stringent, it's not good for the brain, and it's not good for the soul. So Dr. Sanchez has taught me how to create a little bit more balance in my life. Dr. Sanchez, do you want to talk about the indulging with intention?
I love to indulge. I love to eat. And bottom line, we're in this world to have fun and be kind and help everyone. So that's, for example, I love pizza, and I'm eating a pizza, but I know pizza can stagnate my blood, cause inflammation, all that stuff. You try to get the best quality and stuff. But if you eat the pizza, it's almost as if the concept of, if you go out to the sun and you're going to get burned. But if you put the hat on, you go out to the sun, but you didn't get burned. So how can I put a hat to my pizza? So that's kind of the Rejuva hacks. So I do a whole big plate of basil. I do some botanical vitamin C's. I do polyphenols, and I just drink it. And then I eat my pizza. And then every slice has a bunch of basil. So now you mitigate. It's like a hat. So you can have a big hat or a little hat, but you still reduce some of the side effects, and you still kind of indulge, and it's a happy world. So, and you can do it with all kinds of foods.
Yeah. So the formula is, you spend 75% of your life nourishing your body, right? So when it doesn't matter, it's Tuesday and you're going to work and you're in your regular routine, and on that Tuesday, you don't need to eat pizza. So on that Tuesday, you're going to focus on nourishing your body, and you're going to say, you know what? I don't need to go to Starbucks and get my favorite banana bread today. And I don't need to go and get my favorite mocha latte today. I can have an upgraded coffee. I can have a healthy, nourishing egg and avocado, or, a mushroom soup, or something that is nourishing my body, because it's Tuesday and I need to nourish my body, right? So the idea is that 75% of the time, you are intentional about nourishment, and you understand that food is fuel. Food is fuel. You're filling up the gas tank with things that are good for you, okay? Then you have your reset, and that's 25% of the time you reset. Reset is sleeping. Reset is fasting. Reset is taking breaks in between everything that you're eating to let your body digest. Reset is disconnecting from your phone, from social media, from other things. It's time for meditation. It's time for prayer. Resetting is all about incorporating self-care and stillness and rest for your organs, your liver, your body, for your cells. And then we have these 5 days super resets, these super detoxes, where you're changing the baseline, you're changing the overall scope of your picture of your health and of your life. You're really reversing your age. You're really making significant impact in your life. And we're doing that every quarter. And then you have your indulgence so that you can have your pizza on Friday, or it's Saturday and you're at a birthday party and they're having cake and you don't want to be the one that doesn't eat the cake. Maybe that Saturday you decide you don't need the cake, you don't want it that bad. Or maybe that Saturday you say, this cake was made by the most famous chef in my city and it has the most incredible ingredients and I am dying to try the cake and I can't try the cake because I can't eat sugar, right? We want to avoid that kind of life. So you say, I'm going to have a little bit of the cake, but I've got my superfood greens, I've got my charcoal, I've got my magnesium, I've got my fiber, I've got all my little pills that I learned during RejuvaFAST, and I am going to just take those and I'm going to mitigate the damages of the cake. And all of a sudden, you've got this cycle, this balance of a life of wellness without so much sacrifice, without so much pressure, without guilt or shame. And let's say you don't have the pills, or you forgot to bring pills and you still eat the cake. Well, the next day, you eat a little cleaner and you drink some more superfoods the next day. And everything is with laughter. Everything is with curiosity. Everything is more relaxed. And that is our goal for you to live a Rejuva life. Does that sound good to you guys? I mean, is this something that resonates with you? I would love to hear back from you. Thank you for touching upon this subject. Great stuff. Amazing. Okay. So what are the 5 S's of Rejuva life? And I'm so excited to share this with you guys because I invented a word that I thought I invented, but apparently I did not invent. So Dr. Sanchez, will you share a little bit about our 5 S's?
Well, these are general words, which are kind of cool because they're start with S, but sweating basically is detox. We need a detox. We need to sweat. We need to stop eating things that are toxin. We need to do these resets because we're accumulating toxins, unwanted creatures, parasites, heavy metals, these weird viruses. We need to detox. We also need strength. Not only strength in our muscles, we need to have strength on going under the table, climbing over this. Basically, like the original human being that used to go run, sprint, climb, bend. We need strength, and we're losing that. We're very sedentary. Absolutely sleep. We need sleep. That's when the immune system recharges. That's when the brain cleans itself. Now, supplements, obviously, I don't want toxic supplements. I don't want supplements that are out of balance. Like if there's a high dose vitamin that might imbalance the body, we need natural supplements that compensate. Like we talked about, for example, if you want something like to lower your blood pressure, cranberries, greens, all these things are supplements. You got to fine tune it, and it's very personalized, but you got to have these things. And then the last thing, it was social. We have to be social. We're in community, but we also have a soul. We are individuals. We have individual spirits, individual vibrations. I want everyone that does these things to be superhuman, superheroes. We all have our purpose. So social, the community, but you also have an individual, beautiful purpose in this world.
So I came up with the word social.
She did.
And I thought that I had uncovered, the next biggest thing. I was like, I discovered Bitcoin, basically, right? Because I found this word. This is an amazing word, social. And then I ran a little Google search, and like everybody uses the word social. It is not, I did not invent it, but Dr. Sanchez made me feel better and said, you did invent it. for yourself. It just other people had the same vibration as you and thought about it too. So I did invent the word for purposes of this workshop. It's just that the word already exists, and that, you know, that is life. But social, I love the idea of combining your soul with your community and living a life that is aligned. And there is something that Dr. Sanchez talks about in community, is that not all environments, right? Not all communities are the best communities for you. There are communities where they're not living a life that's aligned or that's for your benefit. And one of the things that we find, I actually read this the other day, which is we will, oh God, I wish I had the exact term, because it was such a, I'm going to look it up, because it was such an incredible quote that really touched me. The desire to belong will most often trump the desire to improve. The desire to belong will most often trump the desire to improve. So if you're in an environment that is not conducive to improvement, that is not having these conversations, that is not promoting living an upgraded, elevated, healthier, happier life with more positive thoughts, with more detoxes, with more soulful care, your desire to belong in that group could affect your choices. So that's why it's important to, you know, we have the families we have a lot of the environments we have a lot of the work environments that we have, but we also have our chosen tribes. We can choose the communities that we can be a part of to always supplement the rest of our environment and make sure that is allowing us to live a life of better decisions. And then by being those kind of people, then we can start becoming contagious and spreading the good word. And then other people see what we're doing and why we're feeling so great. And then they start wanting to join in on the fun. And you start, by modeling, you start influencing those people. So the idea is that we all become Rejuva ninjas. Dr. Sanchez loves to say we need to be stealthy in the way we exercise, stealthy in the way we eat, stealthy in the way that we trick our bodies, stealthy in our upgrades. Always be stealthy and be like a little ninja that's like testing and tweaking and growing and improving and having a lot of fun.
Definitely. The world is very, very challenging. And I've seen so many people in deep holes. And sometimes it takes community, few little changes that you can take someone from despair completely to hope. And that's what I always want to, whoever's in front of you, you basically elevate that person. Never judge, because we're basically all the same. And it could be a really nice world. And it takes a lot of people. So
the project is big.
It is big.
Okay, everybody. So thank you for coming to our master class, our workshop today. Hopefully this has given you some hope. Hopefully it's given you some science, some strategies to just optimize your life and to be the best version of yourself. I encourage you to sign up for our RejuvaFAST. Just go to RejuvaFAST.com, click on I want to do the October fast at the bottom, and join us for the fast. The quicker that you join, the quicker you can join our WhatsApp group so that you can start getting ready. Just a quick suggestion, because our fast is about a month away, I would suggest you start reducing your calories now. Maybe start doing a little bit of intermittent fasting. Maybe stop eating a lot of sugar. Maybe reduce the carbs. Like, start putting yourself in an environment that is conducive to optimize your fast. Start taking a multivitamin. Start taking omega-3 fish oils. You can go to our website, RejuvaFAST.com/shop. I'm going to put that here for everyone. RejuvaFAST.com/shop. And you can see all of the supplements that we have there. You don't have to get them on Amazon. You can get them at your local Whole Foods or Milam's or your local health drugstore. But if you want them easily on Amazon, we put them there for you. So so start taking all those supplements and start getting yourself into the zone. And then you're going to start seeing the cycle become more effective. Why? Because you spend the first 3 weeks before the fast kind of like getting into, like, subtly, mildly, gently getting into the zone of fasting. Then you have your 5-day RejuvaFAST, which allows you to have the big transformations, changing the baseline, the big aha moments, the big detox. Then when you're done with RejuvaFAST, you are at the top of your game and you don't want to do anything to mess up that beautiful, clean body of yours. So you're like really careful about what you eat and what you're putting into your mouth, and you're really intentional. And then you go into the holiday season, or you go into spring break, or you go into whatever season you're in. And maybe you indulge a little bit here, or you indulge a little bit there, or you go to that wedding, or you go to that birthday party, and then you use the Rejuva Life model to do it without shame, without guilt, without sacrifice. And then you start all over again. And before you know it, you are living a life of pure wellness and so much fun. So thank you all for coming. It was great to see you. And we'll hope we'll see you in our member portal on October.
Oh, and one last point, Caro, this is going to be recorded. So if you want to share with friends, so they can kind of, because it's nice to do a RejuvaFAST with family or friends when you're doing it, but this is going to be recorded. So if you want to share it, absolutely.
Yes.
Spread the word.
Yes. Thank you. All right, Dr. Sanchez. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
That's a wrap, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this masterclass on fasting with food, and I hope you'll join me, Dr. Sanchez, and our wonderful community from October 20th to October 25th so that you can experience the power and the magnitude of a 5-day mimic fast. So sign up by going to www.RejuvaFAST.com. You can also find the link in our show notes. And please share this with anyone that you feel may be interested or could learn about this. Help us spread the word and invite your friends to join us, because the more, the merrier. Have a great one, everybody. And remember to keep listening up.